I think history in small towns everywhere matters because they have these wonderful stories to tell. My name is Peter Lockyer and I'm president of a company called History Lives Here in Picton, Ontario. Prince Edward County is an island paradise. It's along the north shore of Lake Ontario. And for most of us who grew up here, it was like living in Disneyland because we usually had access to some sort of waterfront property. Maybe we had a family cottage or just access to it. And we were able to do lots of fishing and boating and things like that on the water. But most of us also grew up on small farms. So that was part of my childhood. I had a small farm just outside of Picton that my parents owned. So my summers were full of going to the family cottage and walking around in sandals and a bathing suit for most of the summer, in between working on the farm. It was a wonderful childhood. My dad had been active with a very beautiful cemetery that we have here. It's a Victorian cemetery, the Glenwood Cemetery. It opened in 1873 in Picton. And near the end of his life, my dad was talking about this, saying that, well, we really need youth and new ideas and energy pumped into the organization because it's such a wonderful place, but it needs to be preserved. And nobody had spent any money on Glenwood Cemetery for about 60 or 70 years. So after his death, I said, well, I did say I would get involved in this, so I'll take it on. I thought it would be about painting and putting in flowers and a little bit of decorative work. I had no idea that this would occupy the next decade of my life, and it was all about board renewal, organizational renewal, new staff, new equipment for staff, and a whole bunch of projects that were about preserving the property. And so in doing all of that, I started to think, these properties, and there are many in Prince Edward County, they're very unique historic properties. They're wonderful places to visit, that we can't depend on the business model that originally was the impetus to them. There's no burial business at Glenwood Cemetery anymore. They do very little of that. But could it become an historic destination where its revenue flow would actually come from people visiting it and hearing the stories of the people whose lives shaped this community and who are buried at Glenwood in their final resting places? So it kick-started me in the whole other line of work, which was really using my career as a journalist to tell stories of people, a place, and a time when this was really at the epicenter of Confederation, and all these important things happened here. It got me thinking about what I call the heritage economy, the notion that local histories that have some sort of national or international implications can be transformed from a kind of hidden history, a dormant history hidden away in the collections of cemeteries and the records of museums and archives and libraries and historical organizations, that dormant history can be transformed into a product line, everything from lectures and walking tours and plays to video productions and events, anniversary events, that are retailed to consumers as a new revenue flow for communities and heritage organizations. My vision for my hometown is much the vision I would wish for other communities, and that is that they don't destroy and demolish their heritage in favor of a quick solution, a fast buck, and a short-term vision, but they take a longer, more thoughtful approach to appropriate development in their community. We're still living the history that came about in the past. We're still working out issues like racism and our relationship with First Nations, and many other issues as well. By looking at the past, we can review what we did then and can we do it better? And that is the challenge to Canadians today.